Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the IFLA Regional Council session here at Astana. We're so thrilled you're able to join us in this cavernous space, and we're delighted that you're here. With me are my colleagues from the Regional Council. I'll be introducing them shortly. I'm Diane Cohen. I'm the North American Regional Division Chair, and I'm with a subset of the Regional Council, and we're delighted that four of us could make it to this important conference. Our session today deals with the topic, Advocacy and Collaboration in a Time of Global Upheaval, with a unified response from our IFLA regional divisions. And the regional divisions are the voice of IFLA in the 6 regions across the globe: Asia Pacific, actually Asia Oceania, Middle East and North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America and the Caribbean, Europe, and North America. The format for today's session is very comprehensive. We're thrilled that we have a range of wonderful speakers from across the globe. We're going to start this morning with a welcome video from our Regional Council Chair for 23 to 25, Alejandro Santa. He is the General Coordinating Director for the National Library of Argentina. He was unable to join us, but he made a wonderful video that really sets the stage for who we are, what we do, why we're here, and how we can all work together with our IFLA professional divisions, with our advisory groups, and all of our volunteers. We'll follow the video with a panel discussion with 4 of our regional council chairs. And then we move into a whirlwind of talks from a range of speakers from across the region. I'm hoping everyone knows there's translation software available that you can run, but I believe the majority of the presentations are in English. Now, let's start with a message from Alejandro Santa. And if all goes well, I simply click and click.
Bienvenidos a esta sesión abierta, promoción y colaboración en tiempos de agitación global. En primer lugar, quiero agradecer a cada uno de los chairs de las regiones. En primer lugar, a Lili, nuestra chair de Asia y Oceanía, vicechair de este Consejo Regional. Agradecerle mucho a Arturo Simen, nuestro chair de Europa, a Saif Al-Jabri de Medio Oriente y Norte de África, a Diane Cohen de Norteamérica, a Janet Lebrón de América Latina y a Yanda Lebel de África Subsahariana. Este encuentro es muy importante porque anterior a esto hacíamos cada una de las regiones un encuentro en particular. La instrucción y lo que conversamos con quienes organizan este evento, que fueron Ertugrul y Dayan, fue que todas las regiones estemos juntas, que todas las regiones podamos, de alguna forma, marcar lo importante que somos. Hoy es el fin de un mandato, pero la continuidad de un proyecto. Un proyecto que tendrá la responsabilidad Ertugrul de llevar adelante, con cada uno de los nuevos chairs que hoy van a estar participando de esta reunión. Creo que el Consejo Regional es central en la Federación Internacional de Bibliotecas y Bibliotecarios. ¿Y por qué? Porque el Consejo Regional tiene la responsabilidad de estar en las regiones. Como recomendación y como consejo, es lo que puedo brindarles, que tengan la visión de estar siempre pensando en las bibliotecas, en los bibliotecarios y en las comunidades en las cuales éstas están insertas. Tenemos un gran futuro en la federación, siempre y cuando seamos capaces de representar a aquellos que hoy no tienen la voz para ser representados. Seamos capaces de interpretar todos y cada uno de los reclamos y las inquietudes que tienen quienes representan a los países en nuestro Consejo Regional. Y esto, para terminar, quiero dejarle un mensaje muy claro a quien será el nuevo chair de este Consejo Regional, que hoy es mucho mejor del Consejo que nosotros tomamos hace 2 años. Hoy es un Consejo activo, vivo, con representación. Prueba de esto es la cantidad de participación que tuvimos en la última elección. Ertugrul tendrá la responsabilidad de escuchar, de poner el oído en cada una de las divisiones de nuestro Consejo Regional y tener la capacidad de interpretar esas inquietudes y trasladarlas al órgano máximo de nuestra federación, que es el Governing Board. No quiero dejar de señalar la gestión que ha tenido la presidenta actual de IFLA, Vicky McDonald, en cuanto a la transparencia, a la comunicación y el espacio que nos ha brindado para todos nosotros. En mi caso personal, el poder expresarme en idioma nativo para mí fue muy importante y que esto pueda ser trasladado al resto de nuestros colegas. Le auguro a Leslie una gran presidencia. Seguramente tendrá acompañamiento de este Consejo Regional. Creo que para pensar el futuro, tenemos que ser muy claros en el mensaje que le damos a nuestros colegas. Creo que la IFLA tiene que estar presente en cada una de las regiones, respetando en forma indeclinable las particularidades de cada región. Esa es la riqueza de la federación. La federación IFLA representa a las bibliotecas y a los bibliotecarios con sus particularidades, con sus propias realidades, y nuestra responsabilidad como Consejo Regional es hacer fuerte esa voz. Les auguro una gran jornada, estoy seguro que la tendrán y tengan todos y cada uno de ustedes mi saludo y un gran abrazo desde esta fría Buenos Aires, que lamentablemente no los pude acompañar. Un gran abrazo.
Thank you. What a wonderful introduction from Alejandro to really help set the stage for the work we do with you and look forward to continuing to do, amplifying the voices of the region. The next section of our program is to have a panel discussion with our regional council chairs. I will kick off by speaking to the North American environment. As I mentioned earlier, I'm the chair of the North American Regional Division, Diane Cohen, and have been with McGill University in Montreal, Canada. So I'm a Canadian, and I'm talking about our situation across the North American continent, which includes the US and Canada. Mexico is part of the Latin American and Caribbean. So IFLA's Regional Council is an integral part of IFLA's global effort to strengthen regional voices. In North America, our libraries are facing both political and financial pressures. I will briefly address how we are facing these challenges while maintaining our commitment to intellectual freedom and equitable access. It's no surprise to all of you, we are living in a period of intense upheaval in North America. While this is clearly visible in the United States, it is not unique to one country. Globally, we are seeing deep political polarization, a rise in authoritarian and nationalist movements, an erosion of trust in science, higher ed, the media, and government institutions. Pressures in the United States include, but are not limited to, a climate marked by anti-science, anti-intellectualism, and an anti-DEI movement. US public and school libraries face very organized, well-funded book challenges that seek to restrict access to ideas. Political pressure on collections is increasing, with state legislatures diverging, some passing restrictive book ban laws, while others are enacting ban-the-ban protections. Federal research funding to university is being withheld, and the Institute of Museum and Library Services, IMLS, a cornerstone of public and cultural institution funding, is being slashed. Now, in Canada, our political system and funding structures are different, but we are not immune to similar pressures. There are smaller but growing challenges to book programs, reflecting some of the same social movements we see in the United States. Economic pressures, rising tariffs, an economy under intense threat, and reduced government budgets are straining our universities, public libraries, and school budgets. Sadly, post-pandemic distrust of science and government interventions is also visible in Canadian society. So how are we responding, and how should we respond? We must remain grounded in our core vision: serving communities equitably, defending the right to read, and ensuring access to knowledge. Intellectual freedom is a bedrock value in both the USA and Canada. Now, defending the right to read requires strong boards and leadership, clear policies that defend intellectual freedom, that our smallest to the largest institutions and consortia can call upon to advocate for their users. And we must engage and motivate our community allies. Finally, and most importantly, we all need to be able to tell our story clearly and with impact to government bodies, whether they be our local community, provincial, state, federal. And in the North American Regional Division, we believe strongly that storytelling is key to effective advocacy. While we are gathered here in Astana with IFLA colleagues from around the world, it is vital that we recognize the power to fight back through advocacy. Our library associations, the American Library Association, the Canadian Federation of Library Associations, ARL, Academic Research Libraries, the Canadian equivalent, Urban Libraries Council, the Canadian version, to name a few, and of course IFLA and our regional voice are key to providing the advocacy resources and guidance, whether it be legal protection, essential to building policy safeguards to defend intellectual freedom. The political, cultural, and financial pressures are testing our resilience, as they are across all regions, but we remain steadfast with the support of our associations by adapting strategically, partnering broadly, and holding true to the principle that equitable access to knowledge is essential to strong democratic societies. So I'm very pleased now to ask my colleagues a few questions about how they are handling this very question, and I'll just move back over and start the discussion. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Saif and ask from the Sultan Qaboos University in Oman. Welcome. And if I can ask you, libraries in the Middle East are uniquely positioned at the intersection of deep-rooted cultural traditions and a rapidly evolving digital landscape. How are libraries in your region embracing digital transformation while honoring local values and community expectations? Could you share a recent initiative that reflects this thoughtful integration?
Thank you, Diane. Thank you all for being with us this morning. To refer to the title of this session, it's libraries at the time of unreal situation around the world. And you know that Middle East is one of the hottest region in the world where there's a lot of things happening around the year. And being in a region where it goes long through the history, where a lot of historical wealth, which should be kept and transformed to the generations. Luckily enough, the digital age helped us a lot in trying to spread and disseminate this culture, and not only preserving it, but to disseminate it to the whole world. And through the last years, there were some initiatives that started regionally with cooperation with some international bodies to preserve this heritage and sometime show it up to the rest of the world. And one of the big initiatives that has been going on for a while now, it's a project between Qatar National Library and the British Library, where millions of documents and books about the region and about the history of the region is digitalized and it can be accessible from wherever you are through the Qatar National Library platform. There is also another initiatives in Egypt, in the American University Library in Egypt with the At-Turath Foundation or the Cultural Foundation. They have another initiatives which it's began in 2023 to digitalize thousands of books from in the Arabic language and put it online so that it can be preserved and accessed through over the world. And one interesting transform which has happened in the society, an initiative in Saudi Arabia where they are planning to start around 150 well, it's like public libraries, but they call it cultural house or cultural center, where these initiatives have a lot of component in it, like and one very important component of it, it's the to digitalize and allowed all the access to all the heritage in Saudi Arabia to citizen and in the country, and maybe in another stage they will allow it to worldwide access. And I think such initiatives will help not only to preserve that heritage and to make to give access to it locally, but also internationally, and to introduce the heritage of the region to the world.
Thank you, Dr. Saif, our chair of the Middle East and North Africa region. Next, I'd like to invite Ertuğrul Çimen, chair of the Europe region and new chair of IFLA's Regional Council, to address this question. Across Europe, libraries are increasingly seen as spaces for civic engagement and democratic resilience. How are libraries in your region responding to this role, and what challenges or opportunities do they face in fostering critical thinking and innovative dialogue?
Thank you, Diane, and thank you for joining us today, even after the social event yesterday. The European Union evaluates libraries as emerging actors of democratic resilience. Across Europe, libraries are increasingly recognized not only institutions to access to information or to borrow books, but also as spaces of civic engagement, critical thinking, and inclusive dialogue. EU policies position libraries as strategic partners in empowering local communities, especially around the themes such as digital transformation, environmental awareness, and social inclusions. Libraries are playing a key role in advancing participatory democracy because, you know, democracy is one of our big challenges nowadays, and it seems that that challenge will be continuous in next couple of decades, in my point of view. Of course, there are some examples. One of them is EU Commission-supported citizen engagement experiments in public libraries. I would like to share with you now. This project led by European Commission, and this is a pilot project initiative was implemented in Novi Sad, Serbia, Lisbon, and Valongo, Portugal. And the project was aimed to foster public dialogue on environmental topics such as biodiversity and urban green infrastructure, bring together diverse age and social groups to participate in local decision-making processes, encourage critical thinking, and social groups to participate in local decision-making process. At the end of the project, a report published by the name of A Rough Guide to Citizen Engagement in Public Libraries showcases how libraries can serve as dynamic platforms for democratic life. There is another example, the Europe Challenge. This project initiated by European Cultural Foundation. The Europe Challenge is an annual program that brings together libraries and communities across Europe to co-create solutions to pressing social, digital, and climate changes. In 2025 to 2026 edition, over 300 libraries from different 38 countries applied to participate in that project. The key features of the program include funding up to 10,000 euros for selected projects, peer-to-peer learning, mentoring, and cross-border collaboration, focus on social digital literacy and environmental sustainability. As you see from these samples, in the European region, there is a very active movement about our democracy, our environment, our democratic resilience. We may give more examples from our region, but if you would like to get more detailed information, you may follow the European Union webpage and as well as IFLA web pages to get how libraries react as democratic partners and democratic institutions for the resilience. Thank you.
Thank you, Ertuğrul, and thank you, Dr. Saif. Both regions very active and approaching the challenges in distinctive ways. My last question is to my colleague, Linley So, of the National Library Board of Singapore and Chair of Asia Oceania. So Linley, in Asia, including countries like Singapore, China, and others, how are libraries leveraging technology to promote digital inclusion and multicultural engagement? Could you share an example of how libraries are reaching linguistically or culturally diverse communities through innovation?
Thank you, Diane. I'm sure later you'll be hearing a very interesting example from Macau, from Katerina and Emily to talk about an example, but I shall share another example we have in Singapore. So as Singapore, if you have been to our country before, you know that we have 4 races and we have 4 official languages, which is Chinese, Malay, and Tamil. And of course, English is our working language, but most of us speak English. So for us, we have to reach out to the 4 diverse languages and the races, and how do we do so? So with the recent advance of AI, so we decided to prototype a project called the StoryGen. So this is a generative AI project whereby we allow users to customize the stories, the characters, the venue of a story itself into something that they want to do. So we wanted to do so is to allow public to get in touch. What is AI? What is generative AI? So we make it in a very simple and fun way, where by customizing what you want to be, and then you can recreate a story itself, and that get you excited. So for us, we prototyped this in January 2024, when we reopened our central library. So we have a very classic Singapore stories. It's about a Malay boy who actually fight the swordfish, you know, those fish with a sword itself. And he was very courageous. And what happened is that he died, unfortunately, because by fighting the swordfish, he lost a lot of blood, and the blood covered the whole hill. So we have a location in Singapore called Red Hill. It is to commemorate this very, very courageous boy who actually fight against the swordfish to protect the country. So the story allows the children and maybe public to say, why can't I be a girl, a Chinese girl who fight against the fish? Or maybe we shouldn't put it in the Red Hill. We should change it to a river. So it becomes maybe a place we call Red River in Singapore. We didn't know about it, but it's something, a creative a prototype and project, because the child can after that reload the story itself into the app or iPad for them to look, oh, I've created this story. So it was very popular, and we realized the potential it has for children. So in October last year, we decided, why don't we make use of the Halloween, which is a Western ghost festival, and we have the StoryGen done in a Chinese tourist attraction. If you have been to Singapore, we have this place called Upheaval. Inside there, we talk about the stories of maybe the 18 levels of hell. So in Chinese, we believe if you say do something, a bad deed, you will go to different level of hell itself. So it's very scary. It's a nightmarish place for me, especially when I'm young. My parents would bring me there and say, okay, you're naughty, you go to different levels of hell. So it's very scary in that sense. But we decided, why don't we do a Malay ghost story inside? So Malay ghost story, I think some of our Malaysian and Indonesian colleagues might know, we have Pontianak, which is a Malay ghost with all covered white. So we put all these Malay stories inside this Chinese place, and it's a Western ghost festival. It was very popular, and that attracted a lot of young people. Okay, I hope this example attracts you, and that's end of my sharing.
Thank you, Lin Lee. That was fantastic. I'll move to the presentation portion of our program, and I'll just make sure we're set up. Great. I'm delighted to introduce Juliana Pranke of the German Library Association. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Diane, and good morning to you. So I'm presenting today a dilemma situation to which probably there is no one solution. Instead, it's something that's inherent to our profession. So please don't expect any answers from me to this dilemma. I'm only bringing questions, and I'm very much interested in hearing and learning from you. So on that note, I will ask you to participate in the survey. So if you're super quick, you can scan the code already now, but it will come on in a few seconds again. So we are in Germany, in the northwestern part of it, in a town called Münster, with 308,000 inhabitants in the federal state of North Rhine-Westphalia. And last year, at the City Library of Münster, the library put or labeled 2 books in its collection with a classification note. They put a sticker on it, and the sticker stated that these books were works with controversial content that were made available on the basis of freedom of censorship, expression, and information. One of the books was a French book on Russian President Putin. The other one is a German book that the translation of the title would be something like The Other Year Book, concealed, covered up, forgotten, what you couldn't read in the newspapers in 2023. And the library, like one of the books was on a bestseller list and was purchased because of that. The other one was a request by somebody, so they purchased it. And the stickers were put on after readers or one reader complained about the content of these books. And then after some time, the author, the German author of the book, also complained about the sticker and demanded that the sticker be removed. And he first demanded it from the library, and when they argued against it, he took it to court. So however, the administrative court rejected his urgent application because they said the content of this book is truly controversial. For example, it denied that man had landed on the moon or that atomic bombs had been dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So they stated that the sticker notice did not violate the author's fundamental rights, that it was done objectively, and that in fact an author of books that would deny historical facts had to accept that a public library would critically examine them. The decision continued saying that notes like this, or stickers, were in fact covered by the legal assignment of tasks for public libraries in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia because they have an educational mandate. So the library was therefore committed to comment on the content of the books, both in a positive way, like a reading recommendation, but also in a negative way. And the court specified further that, in fact, it would not be compatible with the library's mandate to restrict the library to merely passively make available the media that they have. So librarians were happy and relieved. The German author, as you can imagine, was not. So he took this one step further up. And just last month, actually in July, the higher administrative court of the region of North Rhine-Westphalia in fact decided that the author would be impaired in his fundamental right to freedom of expression and in his general right of personality. And they said libraries were allowed to make a decision to purchase books or to not purchase them, but once they did purchase them, they were not allowed to negatively comment on anything that was in the books. This, by the way, is art inside of the administrative court, which may or may not be read as an interpretation of that decision, if you want to. Yeah, so this is the German librarianship on the day after the decision. So yeah, now what? It's important to keep in mind that this is a civil action. This is one author, and the decision of this court. It applies technically only to this one court and only in the federal state of North Rhine-Westphalia. But of course, it does set a precedent, and it also has shaken, with all the repercussions, the German librarianship to the core, you could say. because we wonder, what does it mean? You know, what does this decision mean? What does it mean if a court says libraries, public libraries, are not allowed to comment on the content of their books? Is this what our libraries will look like in the future? Will we sort our collections by color? Because if you think about it, any classification really already is some sort of comment. But you know, this case touches on so many different aspects, again, which are inherent to our profession, and it has reopened discussion also within Germany. You know, should we do stickers? Should we not do stickers? The library as an institution of education and enlightenment on the one hand, the library as a service provider on the other. We have the issues of freedom of expression, free access to information, the library as a garant of verified information and as a place of fighting fake news and disinformation. So yeah, again, it's a lot of professional dilemmas that are just part of our job. And as my colleague Ola Wimmer once said, it's not so much an either or, but we need to find a balance between all these rights and all these qualities. And how do we do that? It's a challenge and it's a constant struggle. And maybe admitting to that is the first step, not towards a solution or salvation, but some level of sanity and peace of mind in navigating these grounds. And with this, I would like you to answer a few questions with the Mentimeter. And I hope it works. It's an experiment, but in the spirit of President-elect trying to be bold. The first question is, libraries should provide free access to information, even if this means offering controversial works or works with incorrect information. And I purposely did not put in it depends on the situation, because I wanted you to say, yes, I agree, or I tend to agree, or maybe not. Okay, this is interesting already. I will put the results in the presentation, so you can also look at it later on. Okay, we have lots of we have way more participants than I thought. We're already 70 to 3, okay. Okay, I will move on to the next question in 3 seconds, because we need to go. But yeah, I think we see where we're standing, most of us. Okay, interesting. Next question. If your library uses or would use, or you could see yourself using a classification or in the form of a sticker or something, which of these books would you label as controversial? So the first one is supposed to be the book that I just spoke about. So, you know, if you had a book denying the moon landing or the denying of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The second is about horoscopes. Then we have The Origin of Species by Charles Darwin with his theory of evolution. Books by Erich von Däniken. He's a Swiss author who claims that extraterrestrials came to the Earth in the beginning of time and built pyramids and Stonehenge and so on. Okay, again, very interesting. Thank you for participating. Okay, and I need to move on, and we're probably not gonna see all the results. So if we were not allowed to negatively comment on our collections, what other ways are there to really fulfill our role as libraries and as public libraries? So if you have any thoughts on that, please type them in. And again, I'm already over time, so I will, whatever comes as answers, I will put in the presentation and you can look it up later. And with this, I will close. Thank you.
Julie,
thank you sincerely. I loved your presentation and a way to kick off
Okay, hold
our
on.
session with some very tough questions. Thank you. I'd now like to call Kirsten Werman to the stage from the Manitoba Law Library Association and the Manitoba Law Library. There you are. Thank you.
I'm ready to go, ready to go. This is a very short presentation for a very, very large topic, so I'm just going to jump right in. In 2011, I founded the Prison Libraries Committee, a committee of the Manitoba Library Association. And I'm going to be discussing some of the work that we, myself and 30 plus passionate volunteers, have done over these years and why it is so important. Oops, this is it. So this quote is from Howard Sapers, Canada's correctional investigator from a few years ago. There are no real libraries in provincial prisons. Federal prisons in Canada are mandated to have libraries, but the provinces, those which incarcerate people for 2 years less a day, do not. There is no internet. There is information poverty, information marginalization, but the incarcerated are hidden from public view. They are out of sight, out of mind, not a great reflection on our society, I would say. 80 to 90% of incarcerated Manitobans are Indigenous, and we know that the ongoing and often harmful effects of colonization have resulted in the criminalization and over-incarceration of the Indigenous community. Statistics show that many incarcerated folks come from certain socioeconomic backgrounds. Many have experienced intergenerational trauma based on the Canadian residential school experience. Certainly a large percentage of the incarcerated population come to the institutions with low literacy, mental health complexities, and addictions issues. So in light of these realities, we build book collections, libraries, I put it in quotation marks. Our goal is to ensure that all 6 adult provincial institutions and the 1 youth prison will have a library, and better still, library programming. We offer interactions with library volunteers through book clubs, author talks, comic workshops, arts programming, monthly book exchange programs, and pop-up libraries, and much, much more. Community connections and engagement and collaboration is key to the success of this committee. With partners like Indigenous organizations, law professors and their students, other prison rights organizations, public libraries, human rights commissions, and many more. Once the public and community organizations hear about the realities of these prisons and their lack of libraries and literacy programming, the more they want to support and improve the situation. Because I think they thought it was like on TV, like this is not Orange is the New Black, this is not Shawshank Redemption. But they just didn't know. They didn't know what was happening behind those walls. We could not do this work without these partners. So building awareness around these realities, yes, even in a country like Canada, is really critical. And like we've been saying this week, we need to be bold with our messaging about the importance of libraries. And that means strong advocacy, being loud and bold to our government as well. Many politicians have no idea about the reality. Many politicians, as well as lawyers, have never set foot in a prison. So we advocate and we build awareness of what we do, but we do the work. And I want to take time to highlight 2 special projects. One is the legal information for incarcerated Manitobans projects. With no real libraries, there's also a lack of access to legal information that might be particularly and importantly relevant to an incarcerated individual situation. So we've provided legal collections into all the provincial prisons, as well as programming, and up next, a graphic novel. We also are doing the Joe Big George collection. Joe Big George was an elder at a prison and was also someone who had been incarcerated himself. He died, and recently, along with his widow and family, we've built the Joe Big George Indigenous Collections for all prisons. And inside each book is a book plate with this message from Joe's widow. And it says, "This book has been donated in memory of Joe Big George and to honor the work that he did in correctional institutions. Joe believed that books are transformative and can help you see things through a different lens. May the words that fill these pages be one that allow you to see yourself and life in a different way, and may you be made more as a result." Of course, many challenges, many barriers, many lessons learned. Did I mention no internet? There's a lack of will and systemic racism. There are no guidelines for what books are allowed inside prisons, and so decisions are made arbitrarily and often without knowledge about the books themselves. So we take on a community development librarianship approach, meeting folks where they're at, literally inside the prisons. Sometimes all we can do is create a space, a moment where humanity can exist, something that's not often found behind the walls of a prison. We uniquely offer these folks an opportunity to exercise some choice. Choosing your own book can be a powerful act of personal autonomy. These learners, these readers bring to this space their own knowledge and understanding about themselves, their community, and the wider society. This is valuable, but it isn't always heard or valued within a carceral setting. So what's next? We look forward to working on this graphic novel, distributing it widely, perhaps a series. We move forward to bring the reality of these community members who are incarcerated into the public view. Because when we begin to know the realities, when we start to listen to the lived experiences, when we try to provide some space for humanity, then real change can happen. So I'll go back to that first quote. What happens behind prison walls is a reflection of the health and vitality of Canadian society. Let that society be one of humanity, care, and respect for everyone's lived experiences and stories. And final words from the Indigenous academic Daniel Heath Justice. He says, "We matter as human beings, as vital, vibrant cultures, as complicated cultures. We matter, so our stories do too." Thank you very much. I have a poster, number 111, so please come and visit me if you have questions. Thank you. I don't know.
Thank you, Kirsten. That was very inspirational. Thank you. And now we have from Serbia, Helena Glisovic, and the floor is yours. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you all for coming and being here to hear about our story from the last year, that a large majority of Serbian librarians were into it, and we did our best to engage the others too. So what was about? It was about a legal document called the Tariff for Public Lending Right for Printed Materials in Public Libraries. So it's a long title, but in basics, it is actually the legal obligation according to our national law, and it is supposed to have an organization that will collect this fee. So this was the Organization for the Realization of Reprographic Rights. And this organization and this document were approved by the Intellectual Property Office. So what was the problem if everything is according to the law? The problem was that in preparation of this document, not librarians or representatives of librarianship in Serbia were included. So it was the document about the libraries, about the public libraries, that was made totally without consultations with librarians, and totally without the understanding of how public libraries in Serbia actually works and how are they financed. We became aware of this situation in the June of 2024, when the first of these documents started to arrive to public library directors and libraries, informing them that from the 1st January of 2025, this tariff will be applied and that the libraries will have to pay for it from their existing budgets. So this was the problem, because budget libraries are pretty much not large and already spent for the regular functions, for buying books. And if it is expected that some legal tariff that is obligatory should be paid from this money, then it is clear that actually this was leading to the closure of a lot of public libraries, especially in smaller places and the smaller libraries, which is dangerous very much, because in the smaller places, these are the only cultural institutions, actually. So this was the problem, and what we started to do, we imagined a few steps. I will show you fastly through them. And the first of them was using our mailing list, because it is huge and very good tool, although sounds old-fashioned. But still, a lot of librarians were not aware of it and not enough informed about the situation. So we were informing them, discussing openly. And what we actually do at this first stage was also informing our Ministry of Culture and also Ministry of Public Administration and Local Self-Government, because, believe it or not, they were not informed about this. Because this organization that approved this tariff works under the Ministry of Law, and there was no communication between them. When we realized that, we were started to just, for the first step, informing people. The next step was reaching the public and involving citizens who were paying tax for their libraries, and they should know and have the full information about what will happen actually with their libraries. It was not easy. We are not ready very much for a public appearance, performance, but we understand well that we should use every single possibility to reach the audience that we usually do not have possibility. So no matter if it were early morning news or late night lives or everything, we were not choosing televisions with a high quality cultural program, no. Every possibility to speak about it, we used it, and we did it as we knew, So there was a lot of...
stavimo model od 50.000 izdatih knjiga na godišnjem nivou, to znači da biblioteka...
And it was very influential. So if you're thinking that TVs are also old-fashioned, this is not the situation. You're getting to the millions of people, because even if are people not coming to the library regularly or every day, each of them will tell that libraries are important and they should stay. Third step was an open dialogue, because we didn't want to solely speak about it like a monologue only from our arguments. We wanted to make open space for each side to express their arguments and speak about it. So it was an international book fair in Belgrade. It is actually the biggest cultural event in Serbia. And we also invited the representatives of this organization. And our goal was to create a space for open dialogue with equal possibilities of argumenting. This event was a milestone in a way, because after this open conversation, it became clear that although it is everything by the law, still it is out of sense. And speak of this lawyer from this organization show that they really do not understand what libraries are for. They will just stick to the law with including no real facts on the reality on the terrain. Fourth step was gathering the larger support from the citizens, and we used the petition for this because we wanted to make an usable advocacy instrument towards National Assembly and government. And during this petition campaign, a lot of influencers, graphic designers, famous, showed us, prepared some illustrations and helped us. So we reached this number, I think 10,000 signs, and applied this petition to our national government and the National Assembly. Of course, we use social networks because it is very important when you're in a problem, you have to use facts and show the facts, because facts are showing what actually will happen in a particular library and a particular life of each citizens. And then through the facts we show what amount should be paid for this tariff and what would it mean for each library. There is a lot of library that had less budget than the number of tariffs should be paid. And one of the very important steps was informing IFLA about it. This helped us to reach international context and understand how much this document was not in line with the international standards, recommendations, and this is also one strong argument that we used at the end. So the result was that 1 week before this tariff should be applied, so it was 24th of December, we've had our last press conference, and 10 minutes before the start of the conference, we received a letter from the Ministry of Culture assuring us that they've taken steps through the Serbian government and asked to canceling the tariff. So we have 1 week more. Yeah. What happened actually on the last day of the year, so it was 30th of December, the tariff was canceled. Yeah. So no decision on libraries without librarians. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Helena. That was absolutely a masterclass in how to run an effective advocacy program at the ground level. Bravo. Now, I call Nabi Hassan to the floor. Welcome, Nabi.
Good morning, Astana. Okay. So, I will be sharing some reflections and strategies on empowering digital literacy for researchers and librarians. It's a big topic with a very short time duration. It is a key component of equitable knowledge services. So I will walk you through what digital literacy means today. It's a global scenario, key skills for librarians and researchers, a few successful models, and how we can collaboratively build a digital inclusive society. So digital literacy is more than the technical know-how. It's the ability to find, evaluate, create, and communicate information responsibly using digital tools. For librarians and researchers, this means mastering technology while upholding ethical use and critical thinking. Global frameworks from IFLA, ALA, and British Columbia agree on principles, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and citizenship. But they also remind us that digital literacy is contextual, always evolving with technology. The British Columbia framework is particularly holistic, covering everything from innovation to digital citizenship. Globally, digital literacy varies. Countries like South Korea and Finland exceed 90% digital literacy, while nations like India, Indonesia, and Nigeria are around 55 to 60%. The divide is especially sharp between urban and rural areas and among marginalized populations. Bringing these divides is essential for inclusive growth. We have to address this divide. As you can see here, these are some of the important components of digital literacies, like you can say culture and social understanding, collaboration, etc. So, digital literacy drives education, employment, innovation, civic participation, and social equity. Without it, communities fall further behind. With it, we open doors to lifelong learning and informed citizenship. Librarians today must master tools like databases, metadata, digital libraries, email platforms, and social media, plus support open source software and digital file format. We are not just curator of knowledge, we are technology enablers. So why is this essential? Because we help others navigate the digital world. Our literacy program empowers researchers, students, and the public, building trust, guiding information use, and countering misinformation. The Charles Stewart framework outlines 7 key digital literacy principles for researchers for using digital tool to ethical information use and digital communication. These are no longer optional, they are essential to research excellence. If you want to achieve research excellence, I think Charles Stewart framework is one of the most important model. So why librarians and researchers must lead in this direction of digital literacy? Because librarians and researchers are the front line of digital transformation. We must lead by example, developing strong digital skills, advocating open science, and helping our communities thrive in a digital first world. So this is my institution, IIT Delhi Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, which is ranked number 1 in India. It is ranked 1 in QS ranking. So at IIT Delhi, we have moved from service to impact, providing research data support, document delivery, training workshop, and tools for writing, publishing, and research metrics. It's a user-centric, digitally agile model of library leadership. With so much information out here, we must evaluate resources for currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose, which are core digital citizenship skills. This guards against misinformation and promotes responsible research. A great practical model is the 23 Things program by the University of Edinburgh. It's a hands-on, scalable curriculum that can quickly boost digital capability and library for different type of digital literacy settings. But of course, like everything comes with some barriers. So the road is not smooth here as well. We face barriers like digital divides, misinformation, privacy risks, and a fast-changing tech landscape. Our response must include critical thinking, ethical practices, and inclusive access. So, librarians are key in bridging this digital divide, offering not only access but training and guidance. From rural India to urban Africa, library spaces can be safe hubs for digital empowerment. Digital citizenship is about using technology responsibly, respectfully, and safely. It includes respecting copyrights, verifying sources, protecting privacy, and promoting equity. As librarians and researchers, we must model and teach these behaviors. Let's imagine a society where everyone, regardless of geography or gender, has the skills and tools to thrive digitally. This requires infrastructure, affordable devices, localized content, and empowering marginalized. Future-ready librarians will embrace AI and advanced tech, take on new roles like AI literacy mentors, lead fact-checking, and counter misinformation. Stay agile through lifelong learning. Librarianship is evolving, and we are at the forefront of this transformation. To sum up, I would say that digital literacy is not optional, it's essential. Librarians and researchers must lead by example. Together we can drive research excellence, social inclusion, and digital empowerment. Let's bridge this digital divide starting today here in Astana and carrying this mission forward. So this presentation draws from diverse resources and frameworks. I thank all contributors for their open knowledge. Especially I would like to thank Dr. Sangeeta Kaul and my colleague Dr. Manu TR who motivated me to deliver this presentation. And feel free to reach out via email or my website. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nabi. That was a wonderful overview, summary, and call to action, which all of us in virtually every country of the world can benefit from. Now, I'd like to introduce our, let me just get to the right screen for you, Monica. Monica Mensah Dankwa from the University of Ghana and the incoming chair of Sub-Saharan Africa. Welcome.
Thank you, Diane. Good morning. Okay, so I am doing this presentation on behalf of the Sub-Saharan African Regional Division Committee, and this presentation is supposed to be 2 hours, but I've been told to do it in 5 minutes. So, pardon me. So, we're doing this presentation just to showcase what the region has done in combating misinformation and disinformation. And this is the outline. Now, the introduction, you will agree with me that there has been rapid evolution of technology, and this evolution has actually brought about a lot of information into our region and even in the whole world. But there are challenges as well. And this has got to do with credible information. It's those information that are channeled out there are mostly not credible. Most of them are not trustworthy and transparent. And this could weaken our information regulation system and even cause certain pervasive threats. But it is very fortunate and very enticing to know that libraries and library professionals as enablers of information access and credible information have a role to play in this regard. And this morning I am here to share with you what libraries and library professionals in the Sub-Saharan African region have done in this regard. So I'm here to tell you about the roles and responsibilities, some strategies and interventions, as well as the challenges we are facing, recommendations, and the way forward. Now, this research was actually a scoping review, so we tried to scope what we have done, and we used the Prisma SCR, and we had some eligibility criteria. If you know scoping review, you know it's a very tedious process. So we had some inclusion and exclusion criteria. One of the things I'll mention is that we tried to scope the literature for the past 10 years. So from 2015 to 2025, we used the keyword searching system to be able to come up with our search string, which you can see down here. So we use the Boolean operator AND and the OR. I cannot explain all of them here, but we actually looked at 4 or 3 databases, Scopus, Lister, Agile, and then we also looked at the IFLA repository. Now, as you can see here, let me see, yeah, here. This is our Prisma flowchart. So when we extracted the data from the sub-region, we had over 2,000 articles, but after removing duplications, after title screening, footer screening, abstract screening, we came up with 136 articles that we used for the analysis. Now, these were the findings, a lot. I will just mention one key finding here in each of the objectives. So when you look at objective 1, what we found out here was that libraries in the sub-Saharan African region were acting as intermediaries, and the role they played in misinformation and disinformation actually came out properly during COVID-19. Now, when you look here, we try to look at where these publications were coming from in the sub-region, that is the top countries that were publishing papers or channeling papers on misinformation and disinformation by libraries, and Nigeria was leading, followed by South Africa, Kenya, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Tanzania, and then Senegal and Namibia. Now, one interesting thing about Objective 2 was to look at the strategies and interventions that we have put in place, and we were so amazed about the various strategies that libraries in this region have actually come up with to combat misinformation and disinformation. And we have listed most of them here. There were stories from Zimbabwe, that is the Zimbabwe Sandbox ambassadors. These were ambassadors that were championing mitigation of misinformation and disinformation. There are quite a number of them here. As I said, because of time, this presentation will be in the IFLA repository, so you could read them. And another strategy was on policy frameworks, where we saw in most of the publications that libraries were actually influencing policy in their various regions, in their various countries within the region on misinformation and disinformation, as well as partnerships. And lastly, although there were interventions and partnerships, there were challenges as well. And the key challenge was on funding. Another key challenge was on low political prioritization, and I'm happy to tell you a simple story from my country, Ghana, where the state of a position on the state of threats to Ghana based on misinformation and disinformation was launched. I was privileged to be asked by my dean to represent Ghana, and sitting there, I felt so embarrassed because everything that was discussed, there was no mention of libraries. So I had to step up, and I talked for almost 1 hour in that presentation, and they had to invite me so that we update this document for our voices to be heard. So I think that as librarians, we would need to do this a lot. We need to advocate to tell the world about what we can do, because we are actually doing a lot from the findings that we got here. Now, recommendations were to institutionalize media and information literacy programs across the region. We should have partnerships, policy support. We should have continuous professional training programs, coordinated advocacy. I think the other speakers have mentioned it. I liked the phrase that I think one of the speakers mentioned, we are librarians. Decisions are made by libraries, but we are the decision makers. So we need to advocate. We need government support. We need to influence policy. And then most importantly, we need to document and evaluate our impact. And that is the essence of this research. There is fragmented literature everywhere, but we need to bring our stories together and tell it in a very nice way. Now, in conclusion, I'm saying that libraries are positioned as defenders of information integrity. And in this growing ecosystem, we have a lot of interventions as libraries on the sub-Saharan African region. Yes, we have some systemic challenges, but if we have policies, if we have investments, if we have capacity building, libraries in sub-Saharan Africa could actually be champions of misinformation and disinformation. Let me at this point acknowledge some people. Aviva, I think my time is not up right. You did good. Okay. So I would like to acknowledge the Sub-Saharan African Division Committee members for this thought-provoking exercise that we went through. It was very tedious, but it was a group within this committee, and I would like to mention the group members. I think they are here. Dr. Victoria Okoji was part of this research. We had Damilari, part of this research, and Sis Lindy and myself led this research. And I would like to thank also IFLA for giving us this opportunity. Let me also thank my family, especially my 2-year-old girl, for allowing me to be here. And then thank my university, the University of Ghana, for the permission. I also want to thank Turkish Airlines for flying me all the way from Africa here. And then finally to Hilton Astana for accommodating me. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica, for that wonderful work. Thank you to you and your team, and for that very powerful call to action. Now, let me just move on to our next speaker. Let's see if we can bring this up properly. Juliana. Something has just, I don't want to click too often.
Well, she's not here, isn't she? Is she?
Oh, she's not, is
she? It's Claudia.
Excellent. Let's pull up Claudia. Good. Well, that's great. Thank you. Now, so we have 2 speakers today. Let me just make sure I know. I'm going to let you introduce yourself because we have lots of information here. We're delighted you're here. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we're a big team, and we're going to start.
Hi, good morning. My name is Ines. I work with IFLA, which is based in the Netherlands. We're a network of library associations, and this is Claudia.
I'm Claudia Șerbonuță. I come from Romania. I'm part of Communities of the Future Association, one of the partners in this project.
Okay, so we're here to present you the Libri project, and Libri stands for Library Bridges, and it's a project about the integration and inclusion of migrants and displaced persons through local strategies and local partnerships. This project was co-funded by the European Union, and it's implemented by 7 associations in 5 European countries. It is currently ongoing. It's a 2-year project, but we just finished the first year. And so Claudia will present to you some findings and some results that we already have. But first, we'll talk about the methodology of the project and the outputs that we have produced so far. And so the project is implemented in 2 primary axes, and I would say that the first one and the central one is the support of 50 cities across Europe in these 5 countries that you can see. And what this means is that the consortium found 50 cities that are working together between the local authority, the library, and at least 1 migrant associations. And they're working together to create a formal strategy, a formal action plan for the integration and inclusion of migrants and displaced persons. And so based on this work, which is a lot, and congratulations to the other partners who are implementing it, we have created or compiled a series of other resources. And so, as you can see here, we did research, we did needs analysis, and through this process we have compiled a lot of existing resources. So, for instance, guides on how to conduct language courses, or pamphlets on how the library works and the languages of the migrants themselves. But we also have created a few resources ourselves, so we can see, for instance, a handbook on creating local partnerships so that this methodology can be implemented in other cities, in other countries. We have created 4 mediation toolkits on specific topics, so for instance, social cohesion, and there was one, for instance, on the skills required for library workers, and each toolkit has about 10 activities detailed on how libraries can implement some activities with the migrants, with the host communities, and or the staff, for instance, to raise awareness of the issue, to promote discussion on the library strategy on this topic. We are also working with these 50 cities with some training, and we have also created an online community of practice on LinkedIn. And this is at the moment close to the 50 cities, but we hope to open it soon to anyone who's interested to join and to learn more about this. And all our resources, the ones that we have compiled and that we have created, they're available on the IFLA website. And at the end of the project, of the presentation, there will be a QR code. But if you want to just bother us and meet us outside, and we'll give you a pamphlet. We have a lot of them, so please take them off my hands. And here you have the QR code, which will give you access to all the resources that we have compiled and produced. So now Claudia will tell you a little bit about the findings and the results.
Yes, and before doing that, I really wanted to list all the 50 cities and know that in each city there's a handful of librarians who said yes to this challenge, who said yes, we'll go and knock at our local authorities' office and to ask them what they are doing for integration of migrants. And this is not an easy job, as you can imagine, and we are happy to share a few of the struggles and lessons learned so far, but please do follow for more. Can I get some applause for these librarians? Thank you. So we're gonna zoom out and look at the community level. We are here at IFLA, which is the global position, but then zooming in on our countries and then on our cities. On the problem on the issue of migrants and refugees, we think somebody is responsible, and they think somebody else is responsible. And it's a gap. In all our communities, there's a gap of responsibility of who is in charge, who leads integration, and a better, stronger community with multicultural backgrounds. And in this conversation, culture institutions and culture in general is not seen as being helpful in social change by many actors. And there are actually quite great barriers into getting to information about who is in our community, who came because of a war, who came in running away from a climate crisis. We rarely have those numbers and definitely rarely have the stories available and easy to find. So those are challenges. One really huge important lesson is that young people coming in your communities from other places have the potential to really integrate. At the library level, we know that communities are anchors for learning, and many libraries in Europe have been opening their doors to migrants and refugees for a number of years now. This is nothing new. It's new when the crises become global, though. And so libraries are not recognized as having this role of community anchors. And also, they are not very well known for having strong collaboration skills with other actors at the local level. So the tools that we're proposing and creating, I think they will be very helpful for libraries to use in this challenge. And at the library level, we need to work more on developing skills of our librarians, on providing intercultural competencies to them, to us actually, and also to be able to be more bold into meeting diverse needs. Because inclusive access, it's not an easy task. And everyone who's been doing that knows that. And creating safe and inclusive spaces, it's a strength that we say it out loud here, but we need to say it out loud and provide it out loud to everyone who's coming in our communities. So as Ira said, this is the QR code. I'll give you a few seconds to scan it. We would love to hear from you and would love to share the great work that librarians in our project are doing and are keep learning. Thank you.
A very sincere thank you and congratulations and to the librarians you're associated with across the 50 cities. What a marvelous, what marvelous work you're doing in expanding the community of practice. Now, and I encourage you to follow up with all of our speakers. They've all been amazing. Now, let me just move on from here. Good. We're on the penultimate talk, and I'd like to introduce Katerina Ley from the University of St. Joseph, Macau.
Thank you. Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm Catalina Ley from University of St. Joseph, Macau. So today, I'm glad to present our project. So our title is Bridging Cultures, Building Communities, the Role of Academic Libraries in Foster Multicultural Engagement and Digital Inclusion. So now I would like to introduce a little bit about Macau. Macau is a part of China. We are a special administrative region. And because of the historical reason and the economic development, so Macau is a diverse intercultural city. Under this background, our university is also growing in the environment of multicultural. So for the academic libraries, we are always facing the challenges with how to create the environment without the language barriers, digital access barriers, and how to make a community engagement environment. So based on these reasons, we would like to create a project that we can make a better environment for our communities and our users. So that's why this year we create a project that we want to include the cultural heritage collections with the lingua content, and also we collaborate with our faculties, with our professors and students for deeper development, how to make a better environment for them, to make them have more belonging, to be part of the university and get in touch with the local communities. Sorry, let me see. Okay, so this year our activities called Whispers, we collaborate with our faculties to build up, to transform our library space from the traditional way to interactive multicultural immersive experience. So for the collaborations, we figure out the faculties can provide their research output to settle the free dynamic audio systems into our library space, and we invite our professors and students to select the materials that can help to support their learning of this event. And we also invite students to be one of the participation to curate, to recording those audios in their native language. And our library, we're responsible to provide the space and also curating the showcase for the multicultural content. So as you can see here, so this is the space we transformed from the normal learning space to the activity space according to the content. So we're using this installation machine to provide a special immersive area for our participants to get in to listen the audios with different languages but the same stories. And for this project, we can also including, according to the contents, we will add different elements, different sounds like the street sounds or the relative background music with the audio. So when you get into our this small installation, so you can hear the stories and also can hear something elements with this culture. So besides, we also provide multi-language, we select the languages based on our staff and students. So because we are not only have Chinese and Portuguese in Macau, so we have many different, many people from different countries. Yeah, so the result is we invite more than 20 nationalities, staff and students come to join to recording the sound, and then we have more than 10 languages we can present in the systems. So we create this project, also want to align to the SDG 16, and we want to ensure the public access to information and protect the fundamental freedoms in accordance with national legislation and international agreements. So our library hope can have this kind of activities to support for the global standards. So I want to share some findings and future developments. After this activity, we figure out we can enhance the engagement through inviting our users to be part of the project, so they will feel more motivation to join our activities. And also by using these systems, we found out reading is not only has the physical way to read the books, we can also through the listen ways, or we can through three-dimensional different methods to experience the readings and how to get the knowledge. And the third one is cultural exchange and intercultural dialogues, because through these activities we can invite our local communities, our our different communities from the other parties to get engaged with our students. We can open a dialogue between intercultural nationality. So it is very great possibility for us to explore more opportunities in the futures. And we also want to expand the multi-language contents with our faculty's members. Then we can know more about different languages, and we can feel the multicultural sense in Macau. Yes, this is the contents, and please feel free to get in touch with us. And if you have any ideas, please get in touch with us and share the ideas. But last, I would like to share a little bit about the sound that we record.
Hello, 你好 Guten Tag
Olá.
안녕하세요
Shumai Kenakato Katoa Kamusta Macau Namaste
你好
Ohayo gozaimasu Inuali Yassas Xinjiao
Ciao
Здравствуйте
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. What an inspiring project. And our final speaker comes to us from Brazil, Dr. Ricardo Rodrigues. The floor is yours, and I know you're going to make it an exciting finale.
Good morning. I will take a very general way about the situation of libraries in Latin America and the Caribbean. I will stay speaking in Spanish. There are translation. Well, las cuestiones relacionadas con la lectura y la biblioteca en la América Latina y el Caribe son similares en la mayoría de los países. Diversos problemas económicos y sociales hacen que buena parte de los países tengan políticas precárias de bibliotecas. Apesar de esto, alguns países, entre os quais Argentina, Brasil, Colômbia, Chile, Costa Rica, Guatemala e Peru, han criado algumas legislações e políticas públicas com o fim de melhorar a qualidade da leitura e das bibliotecas. Alguns países estão mais estruturados que os outros, mas é necessário ainda que desenvolvam mais ações na área de bibliotecas. A região da América do Sul e do Caribe necessita, então, de uma maior atenção das autoridades para conscienciar a população sobre a importância da educação e da cultura, promovendo a igualdade social que fomente a cidadania. Alguns pontos de políticas públicas merecem ser considerados por as autoridades dos países da região, destacando a criação de bibliotecas e espaços de leitura em las escolas, a criação de mais bibliotecas públicas e comunitárias e a criação de planos nacionais de fomento ao livro e à leitura. Em Brasil, a princípios do século passado, o governo brasileiro desenvolveu uma série de esforços com o objetivo de criar bibliotecas públicas em los municípios para melhorar a qualidade da educação e da cultura. Hoje, em Brasil, temos uma boa infraestrutura informacional, composta por 2 bibliotecas nacionais, uma em Rio de Janeiro e outra em Brasília, ao redor de 4.000 bibliotecas públicas, inumeráveis bibliotecas universitárias, milhares de bibliotecas escolares e muitos cursos de pós-grado de alto nível em área não só de ciência da informação, mas também em todas as áreas de conhecimento. Também há dezenas de centros de documentação e institutos de investigação, entre os quais se encontra o Instituto Brasileiro de Informação em Ciência e Tecnologia, vinculado ao Ministério de Ciência, Tecnologia e Inovações do país. Hoje, o IBIC tem na função de coordenar em Brasil as atividades de informação em ciência e tecnologia, promovendo a competência, o desenvolvimento de recursos, a infraestrutura de informação em ciência e tecnologia para a produção, a socialização e integração do conhecimento científico e tecnológico no país. Entre as coisas da IBIC se destaca o pioneirismo do Instituto em la criação do primeiro programa de pós-grado, maestria e doutorado em ciência da informação, não só em Brasil, mas também em toda a América Latina. O Instituto registra a consolidação de infraestruturas informacionais, construídas em sua grande maioria a partir de articulações com associações institucionais. A vanguarda do Instituto também se destaca nas diversas ações desenvolvidas, como a criação de redes de informação para a promoção de ciência e tecnologia, a difusão e popularização da ciência, o estímulo ao uso de tecnologias e de desenvolvimento social, não somente em país, mas também em caráter internacional, com países e instituições da América Latina e de todo o mundo. Uma outra coisa interessante do Instituto é que, entre seus diversos repositórios e bases de dados, o Instituto possui a segunda maior biblioteca digital de teses e dissertações do mundo, com cerca de 1.200.000 registros de dissertações e teses produzidas por brasileiros no país e brasileiros no exterior. O IBIC, há vários anos, é membro afiliado da IFLA, com uma participação ativa e contínua, atuando em 9 comissões temáticas. Tem membros elegidos nos comitês diretivos de 6 comissões e um membro elegido para a divisão da América Latina e o Caribe. Además de los membros elegidos nos comitês, o Instituto participa ativamente de todos os World Library Information Congress anuais, desde 2014, estando presente em todos eles com seus representantes. The activities, products and services that the IBIC offers can contribute to the development of information activities in Latin America and the Caribbean. For him, the Institute is open to collaboration with all interested countries. Furthermore, IBIC is requested to carry out the World Information Congress 2027 in name of Latin America and the Caribbean as a way to strengthen the information activities in the region. The time is short, then thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez. I think it's wonderful that you presented in your native language. Sorry. I was just thanking Dr. Rodriguez for presenting to us in his native language. I know it was a huge point from our current regional council chair, Alejandro Santo, that as a global institution, we speak our language and we understand each other. Thank you so much. This wraps our session this morning. I think it's been, I'm so grateful to our speakers. Every topic was remarkable, insightful, and I encourage everyone in the audience to take advantage of speaking with our speakers after the session or whenever you see them in the conference. A huge thank you to my colleagues from the Regional Council. I want to thank the Program Committee, and thank you for joining us this morning. Good afternoon, or late good morning. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Oh, and could I have our speakers come for a group photo? Great. Now,
bug out from the Menti.
I wonder where should we take the picture here? Would that be, where's a good place to take a picture? In front of the screen, or is it too bright? Yeah.
That's okay.
Can we pull up the first
But
screen?
just a second, please. Can I?
Yeah,
fine.
let's have that background of the conference.
Yeah, just a second, please.